Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Lenny K and this is part of my life. Today I am going to tell you about the worst 2 dates I had in my life. Now you're probably wondering why I'm even talking about dating, because I'm pushing 50. Well, let me tell you, it gets harder, okay? This was like, 8 years ago, but the idiots just keep on coming. I was newly divorced and put myself back on the market, and this was from various dating sites. I was on Plenty of Fish, Yahoo Dating, I can't remember what the other ones were, but it was before the swipe left, swipe right ones. So grab some wine and sit back and enjoy. The 2 worst dates, internet dating is so hard, and yet when you work at a job where you're surrounded by teens, 20-somethings, the dating pool there is very small. It's like a puddle. So I went online and I filled out my profile, and at the time I was skinny and didn't have all these wrinkles and looked pretty good. And I thought, okay, I can post a whole bunch of pictures, because I had pictures taken of me here and there, and I took my own and all that kind of thing. And this one guy responded, and I agreed to go out with him. We met at a restaurant. I can't remember which one, but when you get older, the details become kind of fuzzy. But we met at the restaurant and we had dinner, and he was okay. He wasn't really completely what was pictured in his profile, but he was nice and he had a good sense of humor. So we got to talking during dinner, and he said he loved board games, and I love board games to this day. Me and my now husband, not the same guy, we play almost every day, especially during the pandemic. What else can you do? So anyways, I was like, well, why don't we go back to my house and we can play a game? Because that's how you really judge a person, how they handle the game and losing and that kind of thing. So we decided to play Master Detective Clue, which is Clue on steroids. You have more people, more rooms, more weapons, all that fun stuff. And throughout the game, he didn't know how to play Clue, which to me, I grew up with board games, so I didn't really understand that. But anyways, I explained it to him, and we got to playing, and he, oh, I forgot. When we got to the house, I had him follow me so he could go on his way after the evening. He came in and he said, oh my gosh, I think I ripped my pants. And I was like, what? How could you possibly do that sitting in a vehicle? Because he was wearing jeans, but they weren't tight. So he's like, I've got an extra pair of pants in the car. Let me go get those and I'll change my pants real quick. I was like, who brings extra pants with them? So he brought in his extra pants, and I showed him where the bathroom was. And he's like, this will make a great story when we tell our grandchildren. Your grandpa ripped his pants on our first date. I was like, okay, you have overestimated this date. So he went in, changed his pants, and then we came out and we started playing the board game. Now, I know how to play Clue. I've played it pretty much all my life. And I explained the game, and we were going through, and I was like, okay, I want to make my accusation. I think so-and-so did it with this weapon in this room. And I got out the cards from the detective envelope, and I was right on 2 things, but I missed one. I think it was the person. And let's say it was Professor Plum, because, memory. And he was like, well, no. He says, oh man, that sucks. He says, I had Professor Plum. I was like, I asked you if you had Professor Plum, because the way you win at that game is that you go into a room and you pick 2 things that you have and 1 thing that you don't. So say I had the knife and the ballroom, and I didn't have Professor Plum. So to figure out if Professor Plum did it, I accused Professor Plum. And he had it in his hands. He's like, well, I just didn't show you. And I was like, that's one of the rules of the game. He was like, oh, okay. And I had told him several times, I was like, if you have it, you have to show me. If you have 2, just show me 1. And you don't have to show me the other one if I ask again later. But if you have it, you have to show me at least 1 of the things you have. So he didn't get that. And plus he had like really bad breath. And when we started the game, I decided to be like, we were sitting in my living room. So he was on the couch, and then we put the board game on the living room table, and I sat in my armchair across from him. And because I knew, this was not going to go any further. But yeah, that is pretty much it. And then we said, well, you lost, and, good night, have a good life. I thought it couldn't get any worse. I was wrong. So a few weeks later, this guy messaged me, and he actually had a well-written response. Most of the responses you get were, hey, I think you're cute, or hey, what's up? I was like, I'm in my 30s. That's really not going to appeal to me. I need to know you have some brains. So he wrote a nice email. I mean, I didn't tell him this. This is how he first responded. Send me a good email, and then I'll respond. But he emailed me, and it was nice. He said he was a minister, and so that was kind of comforting, because I thought, okay, he's not gonna, I don't have to worry about him trying anything, because he's a minister. That's just what you expect out of a minister. So but he said, I'm not in your town, but I would like to take you to the theater, because I know you were really interested in theater, because that's all over my profiles. Or was. It's not now. Not that I'm interested in theater, I'm married, so I don't have a profile. But so I thought that was really cool, and it spoke to me. I thought, you know what? This is a guy who's mature. He's a minister, so hopefully he's a decent person, and this is good. I can see where this is going. Now, he was a little older than I was. He was like, I don't know, mid 40s, and I was 40, I think, at this time. 39 or 40, one of the two, I don't know. But, so, we emailed back and forth, and he's like, and I live in Tennessee, so Nashville was the closest professional theater. And he was like, well, we can go to Nashville and see a play. And I was like, oh, be still my heart. That's perfect. I love it. And now, side note, on his profile, he just had one picture, and it was like this. And so I didn't have a lot to go on, but he sounded so nice in the email. I thought, whatever, we'll try it. What's the worst that can happen? So I thought, okay, the date is like in a week or something. And I actually thought, okay, well, here's a guy with a plan. He's going to come to my town, he's going to take me out to dinner, and then we're going to go to Nashville and see a professional play. I was impressed. I thought, well, the least I can do is get a brand new outfit. So I went to JCPenney's and, got an outfit, and I looked really nice, and so he showed up. Well, not yet. I was going to meet him at the restaurant because it's safer that way. And I got there first, and he texted me saying, I'm running behind. We have reservations, but tell them, to hold off. I'll be there in probably like 20 minutes. So I thought, okay, no big deal. Traffic, lots of things could happen. And so I was waiting and waiting and waiting. Turns out he was like an hour late, and he was like, I'm just pulling in, I'll be right in. I'm in a blue suit. And I was like, okay, suit. Oh, this guy sounds perfect. He's taking me to the theater where he's running late, which, believe me, I can identify with. And he's dressed. If you can hear that, that's my husband yelling at our puppy. But anyways, I was impressed. And he came through the door almost like running. And he came up to me because I had sent him a picture of me and what I was wearing. And he was like, hi, I'm so-and-so. And my first thought was, you're kidding. Because his profile was taken probably about 10 to 15 years previous. And he had blonde hair. And this guy was like completely silver. And he was like 350 pounds. His profile, I was expecting 230. So I was kind of shocked. I was like, no way, this is you? And so I thought, you know what? I owe it to hear him, to talk to him, and we're gonna go to the theater. How bad can it be? Famous last words. So we went to eat, and we didn't really have a lot in common, it turns out. But he was nice, and So, we left, and he was going to drive me to Nashville and back, obviously, because, I was relatively new in town, and so I had no clue. But when we turned out of the restaurant, he turned right. And I thought, this is not the way to the highway. But maybe he knows a different way, because I was new in town. I thought, well, maybe there's a quicker way to get to Nashville. So we were driving, and about 10 minutes down the road, he was like, I thought the highway was around here somewhere. I'm like, no, you turned right, and it was to the left. But I didn't say anything because I'm relatively new in town, and I thought you knew where you were going. He was like, no, I've never been here before. So we got turned around, headed back. I finally get on the highway, and while he's driving, this really irritates me because it's not safe, especially when you don't know what you're doing. But while he's driving, he digs around for a tape and attaches it to his phone. I'm pretty sure I remember this correctly, but I've never seen people do that. So he's like, I made a mixtape for you. It has all romantic songs on it, and we can just listen to it while we go to Nashville. I was like, okay. So he can't find it. And so he turns on the light, and he's looking, and he's trying to drive, and oh my gosh, I'm like, oh. Yeah, he finally finds the correct tape and pops it in the cassette player. This is how old his car was, by the way. Nobody even has cassette players anymore, I don't think. But he pops it in, and it plays for like a second and pops out. And he's fiddling with this stupid tape, trying to get it to stay in and play. And I was like, I'm good with the radio. So he's like, okay, we'll just listen to the radio. And of course, him being a minister, he has like Christian rock on and everything, which that's fine. But it's not really what you envision listening to when you're on a date. And so he's changing the channel and trying to figure out, what a decent station is. And he finally finds something. I don't even remember what it was. But we finally get to Nashville, and we need to find a parking spot. And there's like nothing close to the theater. So we end up parking in a parking garage like 5 blocks away. And mind you, it's January. Kind of nippy. And I thought, well, I'll be fine. I'm wearing a skirt and heels and trudging through downtown Nashville at night. And he's like, I know it's up here somewhere. And we were in like a small crowd of people. And I walked over the grate and my skirt blew. And he's like, oh, Marilyn Monroe. I'm like, oh, so embarrassed. So we finally get to the theater. I've like sweated my makeup off. I'm out of breath. And he's like, let me go get our tickets. I was like, you didn't already get your tickets? He says, well, no, I called and I just have to get them at the box office. I was like, okay, I'll wait here. And then turns out we are so late to the performance that the performance has already started, and you can't go in once the performance has started, I guess. So there's like outside of the theater, there's a monitor, like a 32-inch TV, and some small tables. And they were like, the performance has already started, but you can have a seat and watch it on the monitor. I'm like, okay. Now, I wear glasses normally, and I didn't have them on because I wasn't driving, and I thought I looked better without them, so I didn't even bring my glasses. The monitor is like 25 feet away. The play itself, I don't remember the name of it, but it was one of those plays that it's only a couple people at a time, and the whole stage is black except for the spotlight. So on the screen that was 25 feet away, you have a screen that's about 32 inches, and it, shrink it down to about 10 to 15 inches maybe of what is visible to everybody else. Now to me, it was just this small tiny person talking, and we had come in the middle of the first act, so I had no clue as to what's going on. So I'm sitting there thinking, how long is this play? Because this is not going well. And so, and we don't go in to sit at sit inside after intermission, which I thought was really weird. But he didn't offer me any like during the intermission. He didn't offer to get me anything to drink or anything. And I was like, all right, great, I'll just sit here. That's good. So we get to the end of the play, and we head back to the car, all 5 blocks, and this bum comes up to us and says, hey buddy, can you spare some change? And he's like, okay. He's like, he gets into his wallet and he hands him something. He says, just don't spend it on drugs or alcohol. And we walked on, and he's like, I think I gave that guy a 20. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, he can buy a decent meal. That's fine. So we finally get back to the car, and lo and behold, he actually found the freeway this time. And so we headed back home, to the restaurant, because I had parked the car there. And we pulled in. I said, well, thank you. I had a great time. Thank you so much. And I got out of the car, and he said something. And I bent down and said, I'm sorry, did you say something? He said, well, I was going to kiss you goodnight. And I'm like, oh, no, that's okay. Oh, my goodness. So that was my really bad dating story. Well, 2 of them. 2 for the price of 1. Yay. But yeah, that was interesting. Luckily, I actually did find a guy. So, and I'm married now. Have been for almost 10 years. So, I don't have to internet date anymore. And I'm so glad. Believe me, my heart goes out to everyone who has been on really bad dates, and I have seen some of them on YouTube, and they're pretty bad, but I don't know, unless you go through it, you don't really get the full force of how bad a date can be. Those were the worst, but I've had other bad ones, and we won't go into those. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I don't know what you would have learned aside from don't internet date if you don't have to. But my dog's coming up the stairs. Cheers. Have a good day, night, whatever. Subscribe to my channel and hear more about my crazy life. Bye guys.